Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are in the world, and welcome to today's webinar titled Delivering Change Successfully in 5 Quick Steps, an enterprise-enabled agile approach reducing risk, brought to you by Knowledge Partners International, the thought leader in the field of business process management, decision modeling, and requirements. Now here, quick housekeeping notes to our education program in 2014. We are offering this year every second Thursday in a month a webinar, a free webinar for you, which is hosted at 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard or Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Please feel free to share these events with your friends. We hope you find them interesting, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one next month again. We also offer training on a regular basis now. So every month we offer our Decision Modeling Essentials online class, which is an instructor-led, web-based training class that takes 3 days, 3 half days, Tuesday to Thursday, every third Tuesday to Thursday in a month. The next class is on the 25th of this month from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard again, or Eastern Daylight Savings later on. You can earn 9 PUs or CDUs by attending this training. It is an IIBA endorsed course. If you would like to know how to register for it and what are the payment terms, please visit our website at KPI USA. At the website, you will find a whole wealth of information. You can download webinar recordings. You can download also some of our previous articles and templates. Now, let me introduce our today's speaker. It is Kedar Kulkarni, who leads the business transformation practice of Knowledge Partners International. He has over 15 years of experience in leading the business architecture and development of technical solutions and applications across diverse domains such as automotive, banking, mortgage and financial services, high-tech, agro industries, commodity trading, and natural resources. Kedar has successfully run large, multi-location, multi-million-dollar projects using agile methods and has worked across Asia Pacific, the Middle East, Europe, and North America. He has been a speaker at conferences on agile methods, business analysis, and project management. Kedar is serving as engagement manager for KPI Business Transformation and Requirements project worldwide for our key accounts. Kedar will walk you through a typical QuickSTEP success story, which we have generalized in order to protect the innocent. Kedar, welcome on the show today.
Thanks, Mike. Hello, everybody.
So I will move on to introduce the topic today and try to give us the whole setting for it. So high-speed connections, the Internet, the explosion of the handheld market, big data and cloud computing ushered in a new world of unprecedented innovation. Many companies are facing stiff competition on one hand and tough regulations on the other, both challenging the way we do business today and calling for change, leading to a growing demand of change management and business transformation projects. Over the time, most companies have perfected their way of managing business improvement and software maintenance. The traditional approach is typically plan-driven and cost-focused. The tools and methodologies are designed to be deployed in phases where only at the very final stage the full impact of a project can be realized and a return of investment achieved. This approach is excellent in a very stable environment with a long planning horizon, but challenging in a world that is constantly in flux with contracting windows of opportunity. The new reality is calling for more agile-inspired solutions which are more value-driven and requirements-focused, and as such, much nimbler and flexible. QuickSTEP was developed as a pragmatic blend of multiple models, methods, and methodologies. The most unique differentiator is that KPI will provide a team of experts that will be directly embedded in your company with clear responsibilities and deliverables related to a specific change management or business transformation project. QuickSTEP was perfected as gold standard of delivering mission-critical projects for our clients in a short period of time after conventional project delivery methods failed. It includes 5 steps. First, align vision of stakeholders. The KPI team uses efficient facilitation methods together with a rigorous architectural framework to accomplish an alignment of all stakeholders in a short period of time. Second, implement a rigorous framework. The segment enterprise architecture framework provides a solid foundation of the project and promotes alignment across the project and ensures the accurate scoping of the project. Third, use a set of suitable models and techniques. Business process modeling and KPIs, the decision model, are some of the models used for the process and decision modeling. Visualization provides all stakeholders with a realistic look and feel of the final software. Fourth, employ an enterprise-enabled agile approach. KPI has adopted and redefined agile to be suitable for large-scale enterprise projects with a blend of best practices. Fifth, steer the project with experienced and successful mentors. Our expert team has a stellar track record and rich experience with change management and business transformation projects and will help you and your team to success. So Kayla will walk us through a typical QuickSTEP project to illustrate how it works and how you can benefit from it. Kayla, it's all yours. Thank you for joining today, and we are all excited to hear from your success story.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you for the introduction. So we'll start with talking about the case study, which is Sarah Jones, who's the change agent at Blue Chip Corporation, where she is the owner of this business transformation project, which is triggered by the need of compliance in the organization. And the regulation and the compliance needs this project to be online by January of next year, which is at this point in time around 11 months away from meeting the deadline. And that's when she is getting into the project. Now, the day the project was assigned, let's look at what was her situation. As we said, it's a regulatory compliance project which seldomly has any room for extensions, or even scope related items are difficult to push out. That's the project, and the challenges which she's facing right now is the project itself. It has a lot of regulatory requirements which she's gone through. The other thing is one of her colleagues who was running the same project or trying to get this project online is no longer with the company, and that's going through her mind, saying, after one unsuccessful attempt of the project was put on ice, and all these thoughts are going through her mind in terms of, if we have the same organization and the groups working on the project, how is it that she's going to make a difference if previously the same project has not been able to take off? She's also even thinking that she might get out of her job, and does she have to put her house on sale? Now, that's the kind of mental frame which she is currently going through, and some of the things which she knows from the previous attempt is that they were not able to get the requirements right. They struggled in their attempt to get the requirements. the models or the processes which they were trying to automate and build as a part of the project, there seemed some lack of consistency there. They had strict budget controls, however they were finding themselves in a situation where they were exceeding the budgets. And finally, there was this tussle between the business side of the project and the IT side of the project, and they never seemed to sort of align with each other, and it was a constant push pull which was happening. Now this is the context in which she inherited the project and was made in charge of this initiative, and this is where she finds herself. And the main thing here being it's just 11 months and a few days for the project to be completed. Sarah had some previous experience in the industry, and she had heard about KPI, and that's when she calls KPI, and KPI comes to the table with what we call as the QuickSTEP, and that's what we want to share with you all as to what is the QuickSTEP approach which we have. As the first step of QuickSTEP, we come in and we help get alignment, or we facilitate bringing alignment across the stakeholders. This was critical looking at what the project has previously been through in terms of understanding the what, the how, the where, the who, the when, and the why of this initiative, which is where people had their own context of why they were doing this or what was being done, and that was not a common platform across all the stakeholders. So when we came in, KPI was able to understand and capture what exactly was the vision for the project, and more importantly, was the vision shared across all the people who are responsible for collectively bringing this to life. This exercise itself started, with people trying to bring their agendas there, trying to, sort of derail the discussions onto what they thought was more important, and that's where it was important to use, a rigorous framework. What you see here is the Zachman framework, where as a part of QuickSTEP, we have adopted various frameworks and models which we use, but the key really is to build the rigor throughout the process to make sure that we get what we were looking for, and it is in line with what people were expecting. So when we got the stakeholders aligned and we educated them as to how we are going to go about doing this, the third step was being able to choose the suitable models or techniques or frameworks, as you may call. Like here you see the conceptual data model, the business decision models, process models, context diagrams. All of these are means to understand what is really needed, to model and to capture how and what is necessary for the project, and what we actually did using all the models which we captured as a part of the process was we converted all of this into a visualization, which is basically a manifestation of how the software or how the system would look like in its end state. Now this is not coding, this is just a pure visualization. So this helps us give the stakeholders a view of how the application or how this project will look like when it is completed. What came about as a part of seeing the visualization was they were much easily they were easily able to see what the application will come, how it will function, and more importantly, they were able to give the right feedback and fine-tune the requirements and the models in such a way that what we had was what they were really wanting from the system. So this step proved to be a great win for the entire project team, because now there was a good understanding from all sides as to what exactly are we trying to build as a part of this project, right from the stakeholders to the project managers, to people who are on the ground trying to build the system, which included everybody, including the testing teams, the internal teams which were doing documentation and things like that. So this was what we used as a part of getting the requirements, understanding them, modeling them, getting feedback from them, and then trying to visualize the requirements. The fourth step was really to leverage the approach which Agile preaches, but we had to make sure that it will scale and work in the enterprise environment. Now that itself involved a lot of discussions with their internal teams and their controls and internal control systems and the way they would like to run the project. So we definitely had challenges here in terms of making them understand how they should run the project, at the same time trying to understand from them what were some of the limitations or some of the constraints which their internal systems and internal audit teams enforced in terms of documentation, in terms of the go no go decision points and things like that. So it was a two-way process. We had to make sure that they have the trust in the process. At the same time, we had to make some adjustments to the process itself to make sure that it will work in the enterprise environment. What you see here on this slide is basically the task boards, or the tasks which the team was doing. We tried to give visibility to the people. We had usage of all kinds of visual aids in terms of projections, in terms of having charts put up in the project room so that it was very easy for people to come and have a look at. And this is where, as a part of employing the what we call as the enterprise enabled agile approach, what you see here on the slide is a representation or a pictorial representation of what was a typical sprint or iteration, as they call in an agile environment, on a project like this. So this is all happening inside one sprint or one iteration, and what you see here is it starts with the detailed requirements, which is on the top here, where what we have as a part of the step 1 and step 2, where we actually had the vision and alignment of the vision. We got all the high level understanding of what the project was, and now we enter a phase where we have detailed requirements which we spell out for the particular sprint or the iteration. It starts with getting the detailed requirements, making sure they are detailed enough for developers and testers to understand. Then we visualize them, which means we have a visual representation, as I mentioned earlier. And even at the sprint level or the iteration level, we would still go ahead and do a validation step, which is nothing but the users or the business users or the business stakeholders actually come and see the visualized requirements to make sure that it's in line with what they had thought, what they had said in the discussions which were related to the requirements. And once they gave us the thumbs up, or sometimes there were some minor adjustments or feedback which came in, which is why it's a circle and it's continuous, we got those requirements validated, and then it passes on to the development team. And I think most of the people are familiar with the development, then the testing cycle, where the test team tests it, certifies that the requirement is as per, certifies what they have built is as per the requirement, and at the end of the sprint, we have what we call as the user demo, which is where if in validation they saw the visualized piece, in the user demo they are actually seeing the software which was built, which is working, and the features, or as we call them, user stories, which were built as a part of this sprint, are being demoed to the business people, the product owner, and the business team which cares about the requirements or which cares about these functionalities. The user demo was also critical because now the management and some of the stakeholders were able to periodically see what is being developed, not only as a visualization but as actual software. And as these sprints or iterations progressed, their confidence level started increasing that, you know what, we got these first few set of features working, now we got the second set of features working, and so on and so forth. At the end of every sprint or every iteration, you have what we call as a retrospective, which is to look at how we did, what we did in the sprint. Are there any things which we should continue doing or which are helping us go faster? And what are those things which are slowing us down or hurdles to the teams which we need to solve for or eliminate so that we can start moving faster? Based on what the demo, the feedback from the demo and the outputs of the retrospective, you see an arrow which goes back to the detailed requirements, which is saying retrospective and backlog grooming. So we understand what's a retrospective. Backlog grooming is nothing but the requirements which still remain to be done may get reprioritized, or we saw in a lot of instances that some of the requirements became irrelevant, or because there was something already delivered, they said, you know what, if you just add these 2 or 3 things to this particular thing, this particular requirement, then we don't really need those 4 requirements. So those kind of discussions became more sort of engaging for stakeholders and business sponsors to give us, which resulted in the features or the backlog being proper in terms of priority, as well as the requirements were what they really needed to achieve going forward. So that's the sprint cycle which we followed on the project, which was again a part of making sure that it succeeds in the enterprise. And as a result of successive sprints, which you see here, we were able to actually deliver working software in production at the end of around 6 sprints. So what you see here in the diagram is about 6 or 7 sprints, which are part of what we call as a release. At the end of the sprints, we have a user acceptance testing phase, which is basically to test functionality end to end, make sure that everything is working the way it should work. Maybe there is some integration work, there is some user training work, there is also certain documentation and production support documentation which is necessary in enterprise environments, which needs to be in place before anything can put in production. And what happened was, this was around 3 months after we first engaged with on the project. And what happened was, the people who were worried about how this will work in terms of a process, saying that we will not get our documentation, in terms of the enterprise controls, they were happy to receive the documentation which they needed, so that it's all good. There are no non-compliances on that part. We were able to trace requirements from the vision right to what was put in production. So there was traceability of requirements which was exhibited there. At the end of this release, we said, from what we are supposed to achieve as a part of this project, how far have we achieved it? So what is the business benefit at the end of release 1, which is already in the bag, or we've already achieved it? And the most important thing for everybody on the client organization was, they saw real working software in production rather than reports or requirement documentation, which generally comes out, in the first phase of any other project. So this was really the turning point for a lot of people who are very skeptical in terms of whether the second time this project will work or will it not work. And then once they saw release 1, release 2 was much more happier for people, not because everybody liked the process or anything, but I think because their self-confidence and their ability to know what they need to do as a part of the process had gone up. We had lesser things to correct and modify in terms of the process side. So the focus was really on functionality and features. The other thing which the business realized was that they would rather focus on setting the priority of features and requirements and leave it to the team to deliver it, because they had seen that in release 1. So the focus was to get the higher priority items which will help achieve the compliance goal. And it was surprising for a lot of us that by end of release 2, from a compliance standpoint, they had already achieved what they wanted to achieve as a part of the compliance piece of the project. So release 3, which was to come after this, would only solidify certain reporting requirements, would only help them build more robust reporting and access control kind of user requirements were left for release 3, but most of the compliance requirements were done. Now, at the end of release 2, which is almost 2 or 2.5 months remaining for the project to complete, our business sponsor actually took a vacation on such a critical project. So you see, in 6-7 months from where she was to what she's thinking now, and that was only possible because the confidence which she had in terms of the ability of the team to deliver, and the way we were steering and mentoring the team members to deliver the project. So that's really QuickSTEP 5, which is steering the project with the experience and the success which we have had in terms of our own experience running such projects. And then end of release 3, the change is delivered. There was constant visibility to all people involved in the project. We had the first piece of software in production as early as 3 months into the cycle. All of these things meant that we had been able to successfully run and deliver, not only just work as consultants, but we actually were hands-on helping each of these steps for the client team and the client's extended team to achieve what was needed to be achieved. So Mike, that's
Keita, Keita, thank you very much. That was very interesting. We are opening now the floor for questions. And before we do so, Keita, what was the most important takeaway from your perspective if you look back to this project?
I think the most important takeaway for us as KPI was that if we are able to, at the start of the project, prove in a short duration that the method and the process is going to be effective, it really helps us in the long run. Because let me quickly explain what I mean. The step 1, which is to align all stakeholders and get a common vision, that process we were being looked at extremely skeptically. In fact, if we were to do that again, I think they will now realize what we were able to show them. But it was very important for us to help them realize what we were using and how it was all trying to shape up. So what we did was we did a mini sort of we ran that phase also like a project, and used the same cycles for them to gain visibility. So my biggest takeaway has been that the start of the project, if you are able to get the buy-in from the stakeholders and make them realize that this will actually help them in their cause, the rest of the project becomes much easier and much faster.
Excellent. I have the first question coming in from the audience, and it is, how effective is this approach in implementing a department-wide initiative, like implementing an entirely new CRM? This question comes from the IC Cold Cleveland to us.
Okay. Mike, can you repeat the last part?
Sure.
The example of the project?
Yeah, I read the whole question again. It's how effective is this approach in implementing a department-wide initiative, like implementing an entirely new customer relationship management software?
Yeah. Okay. I would say it is very effective, because this project which we just talked about in the case study it's actually it impacts more than one department, and it is completely changing the way this organization tracks the risk of their portfolio which they have. So I would say this was like very high in terms of the business criticality of what it was trying to solve for, and it had compliance and regulatory sort of I would say pressure, because the regulator or the compliance authority is outside of the organization, and there are severe penalties and and things which can legally start impacting the corporation. So if for critical and multi-department projects like these we were able to deliver it, I would definitely think for a CRM initiative which is for across the department, it will be definitely useful to use on the call, and thanks for attending.
Thank you, Keita, very much. I'm very excited about this new service product at KPI. It really comprises a lot of the experience of our experts with the tools and the intellectual property we have developed over time. It has a lot of promise. It created a tremendous benefits and wealth for the clients that were start using it, and you will hear much more about it. There are 2 more webinars scheduled about QuickSTEP in the near future. We hope we will be able to welcome you as an attendee of the webinars again, and please feel free to reach out to Keita or I through our website. You can send us emails at information@kpiusa.com. Yeah, and look forward to having you at the next webinar. Thank you very much, and with this, I conclude the webinar for today.